Hi there, I'm Champion Trader Kevin Davey, and today I'm going to talk about real life algo trading equity curves. So let's get started. So today I'm going to give you a reveal to some real world algo equity curves. Fair enough? Okay. So these are some of my personal equity curves of some of the strategies I trade. And I'll highlight a few different points on some of these charts, and some of them I'll just kind of whip through, but it'll give you a sense of what kind of results I get with strategies I develop. So the first one here is one for the mini S&P, and you can see I developed it over the area in white, and then everything in blue is real time. So it's after I developed it. All I do after that, I don't change the rules. I just do walk forward re-optimization. That's part of the process. So if it says, hey, every 6 months you've got to re-optimize, that's what I do. And that's what I did in the blue period. But otherwise, I don't touch the strategy. I just let it run. And you can see how it's done. It did have a kind of hurting time, I guess is a good phrase for it, around trade 300. That's the exact time when you are tempted to quit. You are put under pressure as a trader because, if you look at trade, 175 to roughly 275, it was all pretty much up. There were some little drawdowns, but this was the first major incident, and a lot of people quit during those. Now, I talk about in other videos how you got to have a quitting point. If you did have a quitting point, you probably stopped. But if you still monitored the strategy, maybe you picked it back up again when it started making new highs. The point is, you're going to have drawdowns in real time. That's pretty much a given. Okay? Now, that was the closed trade equity curve. So all that showed you was trade by trade results, and that's why the x-axis was trades. Well, what if all those trades happened in the first week? You wouldn't know. You would, if you go back, let's say 400 trades all happened in the first week here, and for 8 years, 10 years, whatever, it didn't do anything. You wouldn't know from this chart. So that's why you want to look at the detailed equity curve. So what's nice about this is it's a time-based chart. And it kind of gives you a sense of how the strategy performs. The flat periods, you notice there's a lot of flat periods. That's where no trades are being taken. So it's not in the market 100% of the time. Some strategies I have are, some aren't. It's whatever works. But sometimes the detailed equity curve gives you information that you just can't get from the closed trade equity curve. So I encourage people to look at both and see. The one thing this definitely will do is any drawdowns that happen during a trade, they'll show up in the detailed curve, but they won't show up in the closed equity curve. So here's an example. Let's just say you built a strategy that takes $100 profit but lets the loss go unlimited. All you'd see in the closed trade equity curve are $100 wins all the way. You'd never really see a drawdown because eventually the trade only closes when you have a profit, right? Where you would see it is the detailed curve. Maybe it went 2 years before it recovered and you got out with a profit. Well, that would show up in this curve. So that's why you kind of want to look at both of them. The other part of this is it can help you, the detailed curve versus the closed trade curve, help you understand what it's going to be like to trade it. So this one looks pretty easy to trade, right? I mean, it doesn't look that bad. Maybe around trade 300 it kind of gets bad, but looks all right. But not so fast. You got to dig deeper, right? And here I dig deep right into here, and now when you zoom in on it and you make it bigger, yeeks, this looks pretty bad. You go from a peak here at trade maybe 280 to probably trade 320. You have to go 40 trades before it makes a new equity high. So imagine living through this kind of drawdown where it goes down, then you think you're recovering, you're like, oh yeah, the strategy's working, and then it falls again, and you're like, oh, how much worse is it going to get? And then it recovers, and you're like, yay, it's doing good. And then it really drops. So you had one drop, two drop, and now your third big drop, and that's the biggest one yet. That's where a lot of people quit, because emotionally they just can't handle that. It's just unnerving to have it drop and recover, drop and recover, drop and recover. Or at this point, you know it recovered, right? Then it recovered, it dropped again. The market seems to like to do this to people, where it just messes with you. It tries to get you to quit. It wants you to quit. If you didn't quit here and you didn't quit here, a lot of people would have quit here. And the ones who stayed might have given up here, because now it's almost a new low and you're starting to panic. And then probably right when a lot of people would have quit trading this strategy, it took off. It tries you once again, and then it takes off. And then from there, it almost never looked back, at least for a while. The point is, take a look at the equity curve, either the detailed equity curve, or in this case, the closed trade equity curve, and zoom in on this and try to imagine what it would feel like living through this. Because it's easy to look at an equity curve, and if I go back, where you say, hey, here and here, oh yeah, I definitely trade it. And you tend to forget about this area. Well, when you zoom in on it, then it looks pretty darn scary. So you got to keep that in mind. And this drawdown wasn't even that significant dollar-wise, but it was time-wise. It was a year and 9 months. Could you handle that? I don't know. Even though overall it's a good equity curve, a year and 9 months of drawdown, if you were just trading this strategy by itself, you could never last that long. It's one reason I like to trade a portfolio of strategies. So while this one's suffering, even though it wasn't that bad, only a 6K drawdown, so hopefully some of my other strategies are doing good and making up for it. And then when the time came, a year and 9 months later, this one started rocketing up, and it probably more than covered some of the losses of other strategies. But the point is, hey, you really got to focus in on that and focus on the downside, the bad times. So many people only look at the good side, and you really can't do that. My rule of thumb is the drawdowns always, always, always feel much worse than they look when you look at an equity curve. When you're experiencing it real time, that pain, those emotions are real. And that's why anyone who says algo trading is emotionless, I don't know what they're smoking, but it's something. And it's not something I smoke. Because I don't smoke. But I believe that drawdowns can really affect you emotionally. So the tip here is, don't discount the impact, either time impact or dollar impact, of what look like fairly innocuous drawdowns, because they're usually a lot more painful than you could ever imagine. Hopefully that'll help you out. Think about the drawdowns and try to live through them. At least when you look at the equity curve, try to imagine how you feel. Hopefully this video has been helpful. Leave a comment, let me know. I'm Champion Trader Kevin Davey. Have a great day.